why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him, and 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
RTD Live Talk, Monday night, the first day of October. And we are drawing to the near end of this 2018 year. So we're live. I want to find out what's happening out here, find out how your weekend went, and also get your thoughts on what's happening in the news with the whole Supreme Court, the fiasco that's happening in D.C. So as always, give it a second before I begin chit-chat. But other than that, what's happening in the news? Any new viewers? Who's watching us? Who's joining in? And as always, I want to find out what's on your mind, so feel free to call in. It says RTD is better than MNL. Monday Night Football. Death by death. That's a good one, man. I'm hearing that the ratings these days for football isn't what they used to be. I wonder why that is. How come not too many people are really interested in watching football on a Monday night anymore? So yeah, but it's good that you're tuning in, my friend. Appreciate you for chiming in. What's happening in your world? How's your weekend? Walter, what's up, my friend? How you doing? As always, if any new viewers, where you're chiming in from, definitely let us know in the comment section. And more importantly, if there's any news worthy of talking about in your area, the number above 1-833-LIVE-RTD will get you plugged into me directly via phone line, and I would love to find out what's happening. It says, what do you think about the new trade deal, USMCA? So we got Walter from Philadelphia. Welcome, my friend. So just the new version of the NAFTA, didn't really look into it much other than realizing that Canada is on board. So for whatever reason, it didn't take much for Canada to realize that they were on the outside looking in, and they decided to join in this deal, which, I assume that based upon some of the ideas that Trump probably put forward, might be a little bit more favorable for us, whatever that means, as far as bringing some more jobs back here, all that good stuff like that. Not sure, but as always, time will tell. I think it's probably a little bit too late for any type of revitalizing of our economy overall here from the manufacturing standpoint, but who knows? So we'll see. But also, Dan, share your thoughts, my friend. What do you think about it? And so since I'm going to actually pull it up here and dive into a little bit more. It says trade deal with Canada, and see what some of the headlines are telling us. Trump says USMCA trade deal with Mexico and Canada proves tough talks and tariffs. So let me pull this up here, and I'll actually thumb through it briefly and see if I can get an idea as to what's inside and what's some of the details of it. It says President Trump said Monday that his successful use of economic threats and other hardball tactics to pressure Canada and Mexico into major trade concessions would serve as a model for future negotiations. It says we're totally prepared to do what it is, negotiate. So I'm sure he's tooting his horn with this one. The fact that he's able to get this done and Canada jumped on board. Said he is very serious about the fact that if he's not able to achieve negotiable outcomes, he's not going to shy away from unilateral outcomes. So once again, I don't see any of the details of it, other than knowing some of the details from the deal with Mexico. And I did a video a while back mentioning how I don't think it was really doable as far as some of the things proposed. So Tony, how you doing, my friend? James, how you doing? And so one of the things that stood out for me was in reference to the actual hourly wages for Mexican workers in comparison to the U.S. workers. And I think in Mexico it's about $15, $16 an hour to work in, I think, in a manufacturing plant, probably a car plant or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what. But that saying $15, $16 an hour for Mexico is damn good. But here in the United States of America, $15, $16 an hour working on the line or in a manufacturing plant, I don't think most people are going to accept that. So I'm not sure if that's, an equal pay type of thing. If that's one of the main components of the agreement there, it's going to fly well. But I might be wrong. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think it's fair to have the Mexican labor force receiving the relative same type of compensation as the United States of America, given that we're in the developed world and living standards are a lot higher here? So let me know your thoughts on that. We got Dano from Detroit. How you doing, my friend? Not sure, Dano 454, if it's a male or female, but what side of town do you claim, my friend? Are you east side, west side, southwest, southwest? Where are you from? It says NBS has some details. Let me pull that up. NBS. Above Mike question filming. Okay, it says question: did you read Congress approved a $668 billion toward military complex? Oh no. Well, filming, was that today? That one I was not on. Man. 668 billion military spending bill. I heard something about the tax bill that passed the Senate. Now it's going before the House or something like that. So it says, let me see here, why the military wants 760 Pentagon. So nothing. I'm not seeing nothing. Ooh. Okay, I see something about Trump's 668 billion defense budget still doesn't match. So this is an article. This one here is an article from, looks like May. So I'm not sure, was this something that was put forward at that time but just got passed or something like that? It says President Trump's 2018 budget is here and he's being stingy with the defense budget. It says a controversial plan calls for 668 billion in spending, a 52 billion increase overall from last year. Man, $668 billion for military aid. So the budget calls for more than 56,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. So my question is, who the hell are we getting ready to go bomb? Or what are we protecting ourselves from, or whatever the case is that we need all this money towards military? It says the Army is getting $936 million for 61 AH-640AE Apaches, for example, $804 million for the procurement of 2,100 joint light tactical vehicles and Army Marines. It's taxpayer money, man. This is what the military industrial complex will get you. A lot of stuff. But does it actually help our country? I don't know. But yet, all this $668 billion is meant to defend the remaining users or the threats to the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar. So all this spending is basically to show that we still are, too big to, I guess, mess with out here in the world when it comes to defending the dollar. So, that's what we get. And the American public don't even know about it or really care. So, what can we say? But it is what it is. It says West Side working at Detroit Diesel. Detroit Diesel. Okay. I know what I said. Thanks for tuning in, man. I appreciate you. Dano Diesel Rock says nightly business report. Okay. Let me look this one up again. Nightly business report. Nightly business report. Let me see what comes up here. So is this a main topic of today? It's interesting. They got hot topics. They got Bitcoin as the first one. Dow jumps more than 200 points after U.S. and Canada secure a deal to replace NAFTA. Transcript. Senate. JCPenney shares fall as CFO sets to depart, leaving a gaping hole. Another thing is, I saw that looks Looks like the recent president or the CEO of General Electric was fired today after only being on the job for a couple months. It says Walgreens to pay $34.5 million to settle charges. It misled investors on financial targets. Tesla's Musk, yeah, I heard he pulled the plug on settlement with SEC. So I didn't find out much information, but I think, was it Elon Musk decided to step down as the chairman of the board or what? Yeah, as you can see, I'm behind in my news, so we're going to get to it tonight. But what else is going on? What else we got here? Say, hello, Mike. On the military budget bill, they also removed the requirements for allies Saudi to try and avoid civilian casualties. Really? So basically, okay. So we're selling this to Saudi Arabia. Says Trump doesn't care about anyone but himself. Yeah, that could be an issue, because if they remove any stipulations saying that they would, withdraw or pull back some of those promises given civilian lives, if that's no clause in the deal, they basically, Saudi Arabia gonna kill their own people or their neighbors, which basically their people. Question says, did you read the Sears stock is finally a penny stock? Is that Sears? Did you read Sears stock is finally, because I can't read that one. So did you read Sears stock is finally a penny stock? Philman, clarify that for me. Is that Sears you're referring to? Kevin Johnson says China and Russia running drills. Yep, I saw that China and Russia are doing some naval operation type drills. So this ain't the first time. They did the land drills about a month ago. Now they're doing naval. So yeah, man, them cats over there working hand in hand in preparation for something. So the question would be is that we got China and Russia working hand in hand on land, in the water, in the air. I'm sure they're getting in sync and they're getting in tune for some type of true conflict. And so does this idea of the U.S. up in $668 billion in military goods and services, is that our way of saying that, hey, we're getting prepared too? So it called me stupid, but I'm not. Okay, low blood pressure. Sears. I did not know Sears was almost a penny stock. I'm not surprised, because they are on the verge of closing all their stores and on the verge of bankruptcy. So I'm not sure if I will even want to buy Sears for a penny, because I don't see them actually revitalizing and turning things around. So you might even lose that penny, in my opinion. But it appears to me that the East and the West is getting prepared for something. Now the question is this something going to be at the end of this year, beginning of next year? Does this have anything to do with the idea that I'm hearing that China's economy they've actually reported that they're slowing down, their economy is slowing down, and what else? We have all the other things happening. I just recently read today that Italy, something about their governmental budget plan didn't quite go over with the EU, their creditors. So I heard the Italian stock market took a 4% plunge over I think last Friday, and we got Deutsche Bank looking to merge with somebody and all the other stuff. So it's just a way to say, okay, it looks like things are coming apart at the seams, so let's just start a war to divert attention from the fact that the economies around the world are crumbling. So that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. It says no, it got increased and passed with $716 billion. Are you for real? That is wow. So I want to read some of the fine print. What's in that damn thing? I'm curious to find out what exactly is in there. So let me go back and scroll. It says, yeah, mortgage rates are almost 5%. I read that you have to pay $35,000 more in interest for a $200,000 loan. Yeah, it got increased and passed with a $716 billion. Wow. Yeah, and another thing I was thinking today, in reference to this past interest rate hike on Wednesday, is the idea that not too many people are talking about or even really mentioning how the interest on our national debt will eventually have to go up as well, just the interest payments because of these interest rates. So it's going to become a little bit more, it's going to become a quarter point more expensive to service our debt. And we are already pumping. Let me see what the interest is on our national debt. Because I'm thinking like, that's not going to be pretty if we end up touching close to $1 trillion in just interest, not necessarily touching the principal. But I think it's good from time to time to visit the old U.S. debt clock, to dive in and see where we're standing currently. I think this is a very good picture of our financial report card. This is your government, my government's financial report card right here. So let's see how we're doing. We got 21 trillion and kind of thing. I haven't seen this thing stop not once. 21.5 trillion and counting. It says U.S. federal spending 4.2 trillion. It says U.S. federal budget deficit $955 billion. So by the end of probably next month, this thing is going to say $1 trillion. So what that means is basically to operate this past fiscal year, the United States government had to borrow $1 trillion just to pay its bills. That is something else. And give you an idea, it says U.S. federal budget deficit surplus to GDP ratio. It says the last time we had a surplus was in the year 2000 roughly, and it was 1.2% of GDP ratio. Now it's 4.6 in the negative. It says U.S. total interest paid. So here's the interest part. This is what I want to get at and give you an idea. If you scroll over it at the very top up here, it tells you what the definition of it says. U.S. total interest paid includes household, businesses, state and local governments, financial institutions, and the federal government. So we're looking at $3 trillion of interest paid. That's $9,000 per citizen. Interesting. Total personal debt, mortgage debt, $15 trillion for mortgages. Student loan, 1.5. Credit card, $1 trillion. Personal debt per citizen, $58,000. This is not going, this is all in the red. We're living in the red. We're living on borrowed money. We're functioning as a country on borrowed money that won't be paid back. And I think our creditors know that. It says spending to GDP ratio 35%, revenue to GDP ratio. And so it says total federal, state, local spending is 7.2 trillion. Yeah, it's not even there. It is not even there. That is very, very sad. But that's where we're at. What else is happening over here? It says guns that don't look like guns, but it's type of weaponry we have, which work. Recent reports from generals say that they aren't sure they could win a war with China. Spirit King, this is not a unpatriotic statement, but over the last couple years of me following the news somewhat daily, if not every other day, and I like to use multiple sources, not just mainstream media here, I've seen more things about the technology that Russia especially has that makes what we have here are very archaic and old and outdated. Like that, I think it's our F-35 fighter jet. Russia has some things that's 10, I ain't gonna say 10 times, but way faster than what we have. I don't think we have any new technology that's been any game changers whatsoever. But Russia and China, they have several things that I don't think we can touch. And so because of that, I'm kind of doubtful that we can win in a flat out fist fight. And so, yeah, what happens if you can't beat a bully? You got to go to the extreme. And unfortunately, extreme might be, they're going to try to set up some nuclear type things. I hate saying stuff like that, but if you can't win, you always try to play dirty. And dirty, unfortunately, means, it's going to be ugly if they go dirty. So, yeah, man, that's scary. It says, why does the U.S. owe interest on printed money? Just print more in the Fed. Yeah, but just printing willy-nilly is basically what the Federal Reserve is doing now, and buying back all these bonds that aren't being purchased or are not really high assets to the world anymore because people are de-dollarizing. Oh, speaking of which, there's been more news on a method that leads into the de-dollarization process, and it happens to be with the EU and the fact that they have a process that's called special vehicle units of value. What is it? Here we go. Special purchase vehicles. And so as of last week, it looks like the EU in cahoots with Iran and I think a couple other nations. I think I saw Russia, China, or something like that, predominantly led by the EU. They have, let me pull this up here, a way of basically bypassing the dollar. Oops. So how do you bypass the dollar other than to use a method that's already up and running? And this thing here, the terminology is called special vehicle, special something vehicle, special purpose vehicle. Here we go. It says, Federica Mogherini, the European Union's foreign policy chief, said on a so-called, quote, special purchase vehicle under consideration to facilitate trade with Iran could be in place before November. So the whole thing, since Trump backed us out of the whole Iran deal, and it's cut off a lot of funds and businesses that France predominantly, and as well as Germany, a lot of countries that do business with Iran, because of the sanctions on Iran, they can't use the SWIFT system. So what do? If you can't use SWIFT, you go around it. So you create a special purpose vehicle. And what's interesting is the fact that they're looking to have this thing up and running by November. That's 30 days away. So I'll give you an idea of what's going on. It says the foreign ministers of EU, Germany, France, Britain, Russia, and China agreed on Tuesday, as of last week, set up a new mechanism to facilitate legitimate trade between European companies and Iran. So they basically have a legitimate system that they're going to use, which is called de-dollarization. They can't use dollars, so they're going to use their own currencies. And so it says the goal to bypass U.S. sanctions, which have been reintroduced after President Donald Trump unilaterally withdrew 2015 Iran deal, Germany's public international broadcaster said. So this is more of the idea of what I've been doing interview or articles on for the longest, is the fact that de-dollarization is it's picking up pace. In the next 30 days, they're going to have a way to do business around the dollar. They're not using dollars. What does that mean? They don't need dollars. I mean, other countries, not including our little 5-strip, France, Britain, Russia, all those countries I just named, those countries there will also find other ways to do deals, because I'm sure the U.S. going to slap sanctions on somebody. But as long as it doesn't interfere with their money, going back and forth, they're fine. But then you're going to have other nations that might utilize their own special vehicles as well. Hence the idea of no dollars being used in trade. That's not good for you and I. That's not good for you and I. It says, we got Death by that says, S400, I'm not messing with that. Yeah. So I think the S200 and the S400 are apparently some bad boys. And the fact that whatever happened 2 weeks ago where there was a plane shot down, a Russian plane shot down, Vladimir Putin, I guess as a president, had every right to retaliate and shoot at whatever shot him down, but he chose to take the higher road, and he said basically, I'm going to supply you with my top air missile defense systems, which will make Syria impenetrable. So they got the S-400s out there, and apparently anything that come in Syria's airspace can be shot down, and so that's a big move by Mr. Putin, I must admit. That is a very big move. It says, look up Yak 141 NATO, name is called Freestyle. What was that one? Look up Yak 141. Let me see what that's talking about. Yak 141. Crash. Is that what we're talking about? Oh. So the Yak, so that was the airplane, I'm assuming, that was shot down. The Russian carrier says, so the Yak 141 is probably the Russian plane that was shot down, huh? Interesting. Okay, you own your stuff if you know that much. That's real. Freestyle says, we will lose in a direct fight, but America never fights directly anyway. Very true. Says, yes, Russia has used a smaller amount of money to get the best bang for its buck in tech development, warfare. The U.S. has more money for the gov to blow on corporate stuff, not the best. Yeah. Interesting. So once again, I mean, if they're preparing for something, it was a S300, not the 400. So let me clarify this, because last time I said S400. So let's just make it official. Russian S. So I got 400, 300 missiles in Series 400. So I'm gonna pull all these things up. So we have the S400. It says why India is buying Russia's S400 instead of America's. how F-35s could crush Russia's S-300 or 400 in battle. And that's from the U.S. military system, so I wouldn't believe that one. And so let's actually look this thing up and see how many series they have. And so it says, so the S-400 is an upgrade from the S-300 family. And then what else we have here? How many more of these things do they have? Wait. So the S-300 family. This thing's just pretty complex. Maximum to S-400 battalion consists 32 missiles and mobile command posts. Yeah, point in cases. I don't think we can really. Says November 14th, the deployment of S-400 was reported in Syria. It looks like China has a couple others to sell. So Russia sold some to China. So it looks like Russia is equipping the entire Eastern Hemisphere with these S-400s and 300s. And it's good to say if they're willing to sell their quote unquote best, then they're probably sitting on something a little bit better. And I imagine they probably have the S-500s. It says the real nuke was just on the screen. The debt clock. Yeah, that is true, man. I've been thinking more and more, thinking about how all this stuff is going to play out. Like I made a tweet today in reference to the whole concept of net worth. And from prior videos, I'm not going to get into it, but the whole idea of being encouraged and taught and it being inbred in our minds from a financial standpoint of, having a high net worth, doing everything on your end to be responsible to increase your net worth. And I did a video a while back about how the breakdown of net worth is made up. It's all the physical goods you have as well as the paper products in your portfolio. And my statement was, come this next recession, and I've actually, after all the articles I've covered in reference to all the economists, authors, commentators, they all say 2020. So I moved it up a couple months by saying 2019 is going to be the official year that it's announced and it's felt. And I'm referring to the recession. It's going to start off as a recession, which is basically a market correction. We're going to one day wake up and it's going to, we're going to turn on the mainstream news and the Dow is going to drop, a 10, 15 or something like that. And then we're going to have something in emerging markets, some type of debt default, some type of EU crisis. And that's going to be the beginning of the 2019 recession. So I said something in the tweet reference to something like, man, I got to pull it up. And of course, I didn't get much of a response from it. So I take it people probably felt the statement, but they didn't want to really comment on the statement. So I'll show you what I put. And so it's in reference to people actually taking notice and being prepared, i.e. doing whatever you can to make sure you're sitting on something tangible, having something tangible, because you don't want to be just solely in paper and digits. And so I said here, I quote it, or not quote, but it says, your inflated net worth is one recession away from reaching a fair market value. It says, find out why being able to hold tangible wealth is so important today. Click here for more. And so I mentioned inflated net worth is one recession away from reaching its fair market value or correcting. And what I had in mind when I said that was I was listening to some type of financial, news channel, and the advice was, the guy was like, and it's so tough about being a millionaire. Everybody wants to be a millionaire in nominal terms, and I'm thinking a million sounds good now, but there's a lot of people around here who have millions in their currency, and that million won't do much for you. But it is what it is. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? Hello, caller. Are you there? Hello? Anybody there? Going once? Going twice? Hello? Alrighty. Well, appreciate your call, my friend. Give me a call back. Let me know if you have something on your mind. So the whole point was, if you gauge and you determine your quote unquote net worth by things that are being artificially propped up, and that's including your house, anything that's inflated right now. Housing market is inflated. The stock market is not what it really should be. And I've meant to do articles on the idea that a lot of executives and big wigs behind the scene they're pulling their capital out of the markets. And so if all your wealth is based upon those things, is subject to the market, you're in for a reality check when things correct. And so people who striving to be, paper millionaires and house millionaires, I'm thinking like, man, you just one recession away from your house value being chopped in half, if not more, your portfolio being chopped in half plus some, and you won't feel too happy about your net worth at that point. So don't base your future expectations upon artificially propped up markets, is what I was getting at with this little thingy. Where we at? Right here. So anyway, a caller, if you want to call back in, feel free to do so. What else we got going on here? It says Rock and Roll Dina, appreciate you for the love. Thank you for the super chat. It says the S500 is their upgrade. Yeah, the S500, I imagine, because think about and the reason I said the S500, now we read, I can't read that, let me pop that up. But no, the reason I said is it's not too common that you create something that's a game changer and then give it away along with all your allies or friends. You usually keep the best for yourself. And so I'd imagine that S500, they're going to sit on that for a while, or 600, whatever it might be called. And if the 400 is an upgrade from the 300, and they're saying that can't nothing penetrate airspace with the S400, imagine the 500. The 500 probably can protect a much wider range of territory, which might make Russia impenetrable. That's just my thoughts. Kenneth, what's going on, my friend? What's depressing? Reality? What the truth is depressing or what? Talk to me. The truth of the matter is, this is designed to just, give people a chance to share their voice, because everyone here has an opinion about something, and it all has to do with the fact that the world around us is not what it seems. And so there's another side to the story that we talk about on this channel here, and the other side of the story is the fact that, there's change taking place right now, whether or not we can see it or not. And the truth of the matter is, it's going to impact you. It's going to come to your doorstep one way or another. And I think being able to talk about it, you can strategize, you can find out ways to prepare. So this community here is all about strategizing, coming up with ways to support one another, to be of encouragement. Because also, if you're still here with us, my motto is, it's nothing to fear, because God has everything in control. So, I'm not a gloom and doom type of guy up here just preaching like, the world's coming to an end. Because I don't think it is, because biblically God didn't mention nothing about, Russia and China in this particular case, taking out this country. They're going to do some damage to Israel down the line. But in the meantime, I believe, God's children are going to rise up in this type of environment. So I'm actually, not unfortunately, but curious to see how this all pans out. I'm curious to see what God's going to do for his children. So yeah, hopefully you're in the family, my friend. Hopefully you're in the family. How are you preparing? Low blood pressure. Biggest thing for me, preparing wise on a fight. There's many ways, and actually, there's many ways of preparing. So I actually mentioned this in an interview I did a while back, and what comes to mind is every area that's the most important. You got physical, spiritual, financial. And so from a spiritual standpoint, my faith, like right now, and this is just me, the best time to prepare for uncertain times is when everything appears to be good. Like right now, having your relationship with your creator, your source, your strength, in that case, Jesus Christ for me, is really, I try to focus on being grateful, being more appreciative of what I have, knowing that at any minute it can change, which allows me to appreciate the quote unquote good times, so that my faith is built up enough that when tough times do come, I've already deposited so much into my faith account that it'll be easy to withdraw because I know God has it. That's the spiritual side. Physical side. Any preparations, I do things such as, stores, extra food, water, all those basic things to sustain my body and my family's body. And so I don't have a bunker of stuff sitting around, but I have stuff to use in case of an emergency for a small period of time. And then on a financial sense, everyone knows here that anything denominated in a currency, i.e., just look at what's happening around you, is going to be reevaluated to its true intrinsic value. And we all know what paper turned into at the end of the day. Same thing, this thing right here. This used to be 100 Bolivar. Now it's worth negative cents. So if we know that our currency is going to be a problem down the line, you might not want to hold your entire worth in something that is going to be your biggest financial liability, as I said at the beginning of this video here. So those three areas there are the biggest things you can prepare now. Some people can dive down a lot deeper, but yet those three for me are the biggest ways that I'm consciously aware of areas I need to improve on. So those are just some basic things. So if you want to go down to the nitty gritty, we can talk about how much of this to have, how much of that, but it's all relative according to what you guys, what you have to supply for yourself. Because if you have a family, you obviously gonna need more. If you're single, you don't need as much, depending on how long whatever takes place. So those are my three things that I try to focus on. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. It's Michael from San Diego.
Mike from San Diego. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How have you been?
I'm excellent, buddy. I got your email. Thanks for sending that. I had a couple emails to go through, so I didn't get a chance to read it fully, but I caught the gist of the story, so I'm definitely going to dive into it, so appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you some story ideas for your, I know you need something fresh every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it, definitely.
I'll see if I can find it on Chicago and New York, too.
Please do, my friend. Appreciate you.
Sure
appreciate you.
Yeah.
How's everything out in Cali?
Oh, man, Brown, I tell you, man, he passed like a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
He passed this bill because all the people up north, I don't know if you had heard of the fires that went crazy a couple months back. A lot of people became homeless.
Yeah.
He signed a bill for the energy companies that says, okay, well, if you try to sue Pacific Gas and Electric and you win, guess what? It's coming out of your pocket. So now, basically, the residents are going to be suing themselves because they're going to penalize all the PG&E customers in the area and just send the bill to them. They're going to split it up between the millions of people out there up north.
Interesting.
And I'm like, this guy is something else. So basically, they're not held accountable for anything because there's a lady on who has a channel on YouTube, and she claims that her and many other residents that they saw faulty Edison equipment actually caused that fire, and that's why they started that lawsuit. And now it's going to be on them. So if they win, they're really going to lose because now I heard insurance companies. Now they're claiming the soil is toxic. You can't rebuild there. We're not going to allow that. Well, these people had farms, for the probably generations of family.
Yeah.
And now they're going to try to deny them their land back.
So
say
so watch this.
You can't live here.
So if that is the case, that right there just sounds awfully suspicious to me on the fact that looks like a land grab. And so the question will be, they obviously, whoever, the insurance companies are all owned by the small elite type of people anyway. So what better way to grab the land other than to label it as toxic and say, we'll pay you for it so you don't have to come back. And all that land will be utilized for something other than, commercial real estate, I'm sure. But the question is, was there any information as far as people actually being able to get full compensation for their loss of their farms, house, property, or are they that's going to take a year or two to get those type of those claims? Was there anything about that?
Yeah, they filed, and it's in the process of being sent to court. And I hadn't heard anything on the insurance side, and I just heard that it was one of the largest lawsuits. And they have evidence that it was old, faulty Edison lines and power poles and things. And it's looking maybe 50-50 that it was their fault. But now I think Brown knew that, so he wrote the bill saying, "Oh well, if they lose in court, we're gonna go after y'all for it," basically.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. And another thing I just came across, I'm sure you can chime in on it, is that there's, let me see, I read it across the screen today. It says, so in California, the government is suing corporations. The government of California is taxing corporations for something. I think it was they're taxing corporations. When I read that, I'm like, okay, bam, that's automatically a no-brainer. As a corporation, you're going to get an extra tax, you leave the state. That's all you're going to do. But it's like the government's going to tax corporations for some type of something that has nothing to really do with them, but government's gonna tax probably Silicon Valley, and all you got to do is just relocate or shift the tax to someone else, or just throw the tax into the price of the goods that they sell, the Apple products, or all that type of crap. But the corporation's not gonna pay those taxes. So I'm just thinking, like, government right now, I'm really coming to the realization that government is so discombobulated and so such a problem that they're gonna try anything to try to keep their head above water and to keep their jobs. So yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
And I heard they were going down to Guatemala, bringing people back up, and they're getting signing bonuses to get these people on welfare. And I heard state of California was giving them $3,000 a month checks that pay their rent. They get full welfare, so they don't even have to buy their food. They get every benefit you can get. Now they're trying to get free health care. They've already passed free university a year or two ago up in San Francisco. I think now they're going to try to do it in other states. It's like they don't even need to be citizens anymore. You and I have to pay $50 a unit, and they get it for free when they're from Guatemala and they can't speak English. But as long as they vote Democrat, that's all that really matters.
So
now they're protected people, and we're the bad people. We're not protected classes, the white and the black of America. Goodness. Now it's all about the Latino and the Guatemalan and the people that don't even know what the hell is going on. They just bust them up, bust them up from Mexico and Central America.
Yeah,
cut them a check.
I just pulled up an article because you mentioned, immigrants influx from Guatemala, and I typed in Guatemala, whatever. And the article that came up, it says, as immigrants flow across the U.S. border, I'm assuming heading north, it says guns go down south. So for whatever reason, as immigrants come up here, we're sending guns down there. And you factor in, like, Nicaragua is in complete chaos. What else is in chaos? Honduras is having problems. Nicaragua having problems. El Salvador is supposed to be one of the most.
Colombia having problems too.
Yeah, I hear Colombia and Venezuela they're having some issues over the whole migrant crisis coming across, and so it looks like there's a big contagion of problems from the Central to South America that's working its way up to North America, and I believe it's all inspired by the tensions here that's designed to create problems in other places, so it keeps us out of the mainstream story. We got all those other places having issues, so it just deflects the truth from what's happening here. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're worried about who Kavanaugh felt up when in 6th grade, and all this garbage is going on, and they don't even want to cover that.
Yeah,
they just want to, they want to be like school kids. Find signs, passing notes, and this person said that person, this person, who gives a shit, lady? Our country's in such bad shape, and this is the kind of schoolgirl games they play.
Yeah.
And they want to delay things, and they don't want them approved. And the reason I called was, did you see any of that Kavanaugh? Did you see any of the court proceedings or anything?
I didn't watch the entire thing, but I watched clips, I watched segments, and speaking of which, well, since we on air, for those that are tuning in, give us a thumbs up if you think Kavanaugh will get the Supreme Court seat after this FBI investigation, or do you think something's going to come up between now and then and he won't get it? So give us a thumbs down. So thumbs up if he's going to be the next Supreme Court judge, or thumbs down if the FBI and whoever else is going to come up with something to where they're going to have to find another candidate. So in the chat, let us know.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think he's going to get? You think the FBI going to find something, or he's going to get nominated next week? Or whatever.
No, I heard he's getting it immediately. Either way, because they said, what did I hear? They said basically Trump said I go with the Congress for the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually going to be exposed, like what the Red Cross is doing with their harvesting, and how Feinstein was threatening people to vote against Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
And I had caught the end of it. I didn't see much of it. But then, after they said, we want more time for an investigation, they broke and they went over to President Trump. And I guess he was with the leader of Chile.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about Chile, and they asked him about Venezuela. And he said, it's very serious over there. We need to help them out. People need to be taken care of. And over the shoulder of the president, the leader from Chile said, it's bad everywhere. And I was so shocked because the president didn't acknowledge that, and the media didn't say a darn thing, and they just kept asking about Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, that's what's really going on.
Yeah.
Central America and South America are falling apart, but they're so busy with, what he was doing back in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade.
Yeah.
By the time it hits us, it's going to be too late. We're going to be able to prepare, like you're talking about.
Right. Well, Mike,
It's too late by then.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Mike. Let me take another call. Thanks, my friend. I appreciate all you do. Have a good one.
You too, man. I'll send you more articles.
Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting, man. Kavanaugh, that would be interesting. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Huh? Wait, what? Hold on. Say it again.
You RTD Live Talk, my friend. How you doing?
Oh, hey. Can I talk about internet issues?
Sure. What's your name and then where you calling from? You can talk about internet issues. Yes.
My name's Tyler, and I'm calling from Oregon.
Tyler from Oregon. What's going on out in that area? What's on your mind about the internet? Talk to us.
Well, I have a bit of issues on the internet. They have to do mainly with the way the internet works sometimes.
Okay.
There's certain people on the internet that I think don't get the amount of awareness to them that they need because they're doing things that are wrong.
So who are they? Who are they that's doing things wrong, and who is the receiver that's not getting the information they need?
Should I I don't know if I should say names or not,
or just you talk about an individual or a group of people or a part of this country, or what exactly you're referring to?
Well, it's groups of people, but at the same time, I do know one certain person that does the same thing.
Okay, now does the same thing as far as does shares information or does not?
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, it has to do with pedophilia.
Ooh, okay, that's deep. Okay. Share your thoughts. We can leave names out for now. No names, but share your thoughts.
Yeah, that's why I was I probably shouldn't say names, but so I've been on the internet for as long as I can remember. Just basically the way I've grown up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just I guess electronics and all those things. I'm just a huge fan of them.
Yeah.
And all those things, but there are certain problems on the internet that I think should be addressed.
Right, I do agree 100%, and that's the thing where it's a vehicle that's been used for people to share their thoughts, opinions, and ideas and whatever else. But then on top of that, there's no filters for the type of information and entertainment that people choose to partake in. So it's one of them things where if you interfere in a certain area, it's going to then trickle into another area, which will then censor free speech and free activity to do what you want. Now, when it becomes a crime, that's another thing. But it's one of them fine lines of keeping it clean, breaking the law. Yeah. But what are your thoughts on that, though? I mean, any suggestions on how to clean things up?
Yeah. And I personally don't think that we should be censoring people. I'm a firm believer of the First Amendment. I don't believe that people should be censored. Everything should be allowed within certain reason. You can't show children pornography because that would go against the First Amendment and what it doesn't protect. But the First Amendment does protect things say, I don't know, maybe a little bit of hateful speech, right?
Right.
But that's not the topic I want to get into. The topic I want to get into is how it should maybe be regulated a little bit on the internet. See, there's groups of people that target kids on the internet, right? They're pedophiles. There's groups of them in different social medias and all that, and it's a bit of a problem because it can really harm a child that doesn't understand fully how the world works.
Right, I do agree. Yeah, I do agree, and hopefully in the days ahead there'll be I'm not sure if you follow the alternative media realm, but apparently behind the scenes there's a lot of things being done to clean out a lot of the as people say, the dark web here, where there's rings of very, very bad people that hurt children of that nature. So hopefully all the things happening behind the scenes that President Trump is doing and all the teams that's been formed can clean up some of that stuff to where it becomes something that people no longer want to partake in, even though it's going to be here, I'm sure, for however long. But hopefully some of those things can get cleaned up to where kids' lives can be saved. So other than that, it's one of them things where it's that's a very deep subject, my friend, very deep. And hopefully we can get some of that stuff cleaned up, but it's no guarantees because that's a part of the culture in general around the world. So unfortunately, it's a dirty business, but it's a very big business. So.
Yeah.
But no, man, I appreciate you calling and sharing your thoughts, my friend. And thanks for you sound like a younger person yourself. So, if you're in tune and aware of things like that, you're definitely on the right pathway, my friend. Now, I encourage you to share the positive side of that with other people to shine light on that so your voice can make a difference. I do believe that.
All right. So, I guess like a way we can counteract all of those things is like, maybe having a little bit like more awareness of how you can protect yourself online. Like, say if you want to protect where your internet connections come from, because you can be tracked on the internet pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I've seen many people like get doxxed, and so that's like a big thing now. People are sharing other people's information, like where they live, their occupations, and all those other things.
Yeah.
And there's a certain freedom to knowing what someone does, who they are, but again, within certain reason, you need to have a probable cause for all these things that you're going to like be able to share with other people. You can't just expose someone for like what they work just because you don't like them, or expose a certain thing about them to the public, because that would be a little bit of like maybe like defamation. Yeah,
and that's just basically spying on people. That's you're invading people's privacy. So that's another thing. So, but yeah, that's an approach. But that sounds more like a personal thing for individuals to do who engage in the internet. And period. Just protect on the back end, whether it be a VPN or some type of service to whatever to monitor your traffic, or going incognito if that helps with all. So that sounds more like a personal thing for each person to do on their own. So, but that's some good information, my friend. So I appreciate you for sharing that. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for calling in. So you sound like a first time caller. So thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate that.
All right. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
See you later, my nigga.
Yeah, that was a very immature thing, but it is what it is. So yeah, so back to the main story at hand. Tony, good. Mike got to go. Thanks from Oregon. Yeah. That's good, man. But no, it's that whole pedophilia stuff, man. That's a whole nother level. I've never talked about that on this channel, even though it's a real subject matter. But it's one of them things where that's one thing I have not covered. And I personally don't feel led to go down that route. I stick to the monetary, political, geopolitical things. So, but that is some serious stuff, man. And that stuff is ruining a lot of people's lives. It's really hurting a lot of people, man. And the thing about a lot of the children, from what I'm hearing and from I'm sure what you guys hear from the alternative media world, comes from the second world, third world countries where children basically have free reign to do whatever they want, and they don't have parents. And I've actually watched a lot of documentaries on countries in Africa where there's, AIDS go through villages, and as kids just living for themselves. And yeah, it's bad, man. But we got another caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Mike? This is Tony from Oakland.
Tony, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, not bad. I'm better than the last caller, evidently.
Oh yeah, you sound like a young guy, a little immature, but other than that, he got his couple minutes of air time. What's on your mind tonight, Tom?
Yeah, well, it's better to you than it's somebody else that cares about it.
Right.
What do you want to talk about, man? We got a lot of things on our mind.
I'm curious about
Venezuela.
So Venezuela, that's going to be an ongoing thing. What's going to be most interesting is going to be Argentina, because as of Friday or today, it's 42-1. And so I'm assuming by the end of this year, they may touch 100 pesos to $1. What do you think about that?
I just I look at it a little bit different.
Go ahead.
The money they can print.
Yeah.
That's no big deal.
Yeah.
But the oil they have to get from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the U.S. has shut out Iran and Venezuela in the oil market so they can put theirs on.
Now,
I think that,
you got to put it on as far as them being able to sell it and exchange it outside of dollars, or on as far as, what do you mean by on?
Yeah, that the U.S. can get into the gas and oil markets that way.
Yeah.
Because with the Venezuela not producing anything and Iran not producing anything, the U.S. can get theirs out. And I think that's why everybody's fighting. Say, hey, you guys got to let these guys back in because they're part of OPEC, and they need to have their oil on the market, and the U.S. is not willing to do that.
Yeah. Ooh, so here's the thing, like what's the long-term game with that? So are they trying to reassure that you'll need dollars? If you're going to get oil, you got to get it from us, and you got to use our currency, is what they're trying to say? Because people are getting rid of not using dollars or what? So why do we have to lead the nation or lead the world in oil production at this point now, as everything comes crumbling down?
Everything's not coming down. It just looks that way on our end.
Yeah.
They got everything propped up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll let you know when they're going to pull the plug, but they've already got something else in the works.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody's up in arms about this thing is overbought, oversold, and it's an awakening on our part. But until we as a people can get together and say, hey, we know what you're doing, and point it out to them, they're going to continue to do what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a matter of the people waking up.
Right. Now, so that's just talking about us here in this country. How about all the other issues that's happening around the world that we are all interconnected with, such as the banking sector. We got the Middle East situations and all the chaos in America's area or whatnot. What's the chance of that stuff coming back this way?
Well, you said it. If they own everything and got everything in the works, they're working together in unison. These central banks, they got over 160, military bases. U.S. got over 160 military bases across the world. Yeah. If you don't do what we say, we just in the military. We got a $760 billion budget. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what it's looking like.
Right, and I think everybody's in on the take. Everybody just wants their piece of pie. I mean, Syria, they split that thing up to 3 ways now, maybe 4. Yeah. But everybody's wanting their take on the oil profits. Yeah. Before this thing shakes out.
Yeah, but that's we'll see. Now, my biggest thing is, and for whatever reason, 60 days. I'm saying between October and November. I think the next 60 days are going to be very telling of how next year starts off. And what I mean by that is we have this whole political situation with the Supreme Court and the stuff that's going to come from that. We have the whole idea that usually October, November, there's some type of market situation that tends to happen for whatever reason. Then we have all the stuff with the crypto side of things that's developing, and so we have a lot of things to keep an eye on. And I think in the next 60 days we're going to find out some stuff that we need to know, but we wish we wouldn't have had to have dealt with at this point in time. What do you think?
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think? How serious is it going to be?
How serious? I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm looking at about a 6. Which is more than enough to cause some hiccups somewhere in this planet, whether it be on some war stuff, some financial stuff, or on some political stuff here in this country, because this country is already extremely divided. We don't need much to start some left-right type stuff over here, in my opinion. So in one of those 3 areas, in the next 60 days, something's gonna give.
Well, my thing is they created a system, and we're in that system, and we're doing what we're told through that system. And I think it's going to be a 3 on my end. I think we're going to get the same drip and stuff that we've been getting with the QAnon thing, with the Trump leaking this, and the Democrats over. And I think the Democrats, with the way they're imploding their party, they're creating a new party. Yeah. And people aren't awake to that and aren't realizing that. They're just like, oh, the Democrats, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. It's like, wait a minute, the Democrats are moving to Bernie Sanders' way. Are you going to hate them then when they're giving you free stuff?
So you think that this walk away movement was a paid for gimmick by the Soroses and all those funds to basically pave the way for the new introduction of a new party, probably for the presidential campaign run, or what?
I think you're right about that. I think I hit that right on the head if you're asking me. Because there's no way that there's no rebuttal to any of it.
Yeah.
It's just like Trump says something and everybody's like, okay, he said it. It must be true.
Yeah.
They're walking right into the fog, and they get on the other side of it. It's like, oh man, we get free health care, we get free this, free that. Somebody's gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah. Now watch this. Here's something else. And so so there's no rebuttal by the Democratic side. So they are, and I believe that they are on guard right now because of this whole Supreme Court situation. Because I haven't looked into it, but I don't know the history behind it. But has there been a time where there's been 5 conservative Constitution type of individuals on the Supreme Court that could disrupt or overturn some of the things that have been put in place that have led to the degrading of this nation in general that the Democrats could be concerned with? Because during that one of the speeches or whatever, I caught a glimpse of it, but they were talking about military tribunals and treason and put to death. All that stuff was talked amongst Kavanaugh and one of the senators there. Why would you mention all that military stuff and tribunal stuff unless there were some things in the work and some people was going to get, tried for treason? So could some of those politicians be scared that they are caught up in some things that's about to be brought to the light eventually? So that's why the Democratic Party could be a little bit in disarray right now?
No. The one thing it is to keep us in fear. Us in fear, not them. None of them are going to jail. Only one went to jail is Bill Cosby. And I ain't even think he's in jail.
Yeah, he's at a resort club somewhere.
No, ain't nobody going to jail.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the what was that about them tribunals and things? No, there ain't nothing coming of that, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey.
It's just to keep us in fear. We need to unite instead of being in fear of what they got it for.
But here's the thing with the military tribunals and all that stuff that was mentioned and treason, all that talk that was mentioned doesn't really scare me. It more so excites me at the fact that if there are some moves made, perhaps we can get a little justice starting with D.C. and some of the elected officials can then be brought to light as far as all their bad deals. Because here's my thing. If you've been in politics all your career, there's no way you've got to 20, 30 years without doing some back deals, some back scratching, some illegal stuff that I'm sure goes against the best interest of our country. So those are the people that I would love to find out who, what, how, and how much, and have those people resign. Because I don't know the numbers, but apparently a lot of people have been resigning, giving up their seats, their position or whatnot. For what reason? And then I'm not sure if you follow the whole idea on these indictments, 30, 40, 50,000 indictments that's sealed or whatever crap. So if all that stuff is real, there's some information out there that, people don't want to know. What can come to light that could hurt and harm careers if that stuff is true?
It's not real.
It's not?
It's not real.
Okay.
No,
so
it's not real. And if Mike, let me say this. I don't want to take up too much.
No, go ahead.
If they run everything, they run everything.
Yeah.
Don't get it confused. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
They run the Democratic as well as the Republican. They run the Senate. They run everything, all the way up to the president. Even IMF.
Yeah.
One prints money for the other one. The other one tells us we owe them money.
Yeah.
They own it all. They need somebody to flip the French fries, and guess who it's going to be?
Good point. So watch this. So Tony, watch this. In the next 60 days, let's see if that's 6. As far as me believing that something that will be very newsworthy will come to light that will then unfold and open up some other things of interest in comparison to your 3, and you say nothing's going to happen, everything's going to remain the same. So let's see at the end of this 60 days who's right and who's wrong. Let's put a cup of tea on it or something like that.
Okay, I can do a cup of tea.
Good deal.
But I don't want you to think I said nothing's going to happen. I just think we'll get the drips and drabs that we've been having.
Okay, so you said about a 3. So how are we going to measure that? We'll let the audience decide.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
And you'll be hearing from me before this, but it's good talking at you, bro.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, man.
Keep your head up. Bye.
All right. Yeah, man. Got a cup of tea on the line, people. Let me know if you want to get in on this side bet. If you want a side bet on this glass or a cup of tea. So lift your hands up if you want to get involved in this deal. We got in the next 60 days, there'll be some type of news or some type of story that will be very informative that would gonna cause some problems in the long run. And so I'm saying there will be. Tony said there will not be. We'll see. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? I lost you. If you want to call back, give me a call. Got a couple more minutes and we're going to log off. It's been over an hour. But it's when you're having fun, you're having fun. So I'll give it another second. But anyway, I was talking about something before I logged off. What was I talking about? Anybody want to refresh my memory? So let's take this call. And this call will be the last one. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Tony. I'm from California.
Tony from California. How you doing this evening?
What? Sorry, I didn't understand you. What?
No, how are you doing this evening? What's on your mind tonight, Tony?
I'm doing pretty all right, but some things are on my mind about what that guy said earlier.
Mm-hmm. What guy are you referring to?
I know some people who have been around pedophiles and known pedophiles, and it makes me really uncomfortable to talk about it, but I think it just really needs to be out there.
Okay, so watch this. I appreciate you calling in and being willing to share that. However, this show here is more so geared towards political and monetary issues. So I do agree there is a problem.
Jesus is a pedophile. He's a YouTuber. That same Neo Jesus is a pedophile. I'm sorry.
Okay. So we have a couple people using the pedophile game or the tragedy of pedophilia for amusement. But I appreciate you guys. It takes a lot of time to dial in and to run a prank, but God bless you. Anyway, yeah, believe me, I did hang up. But anyway, so we're gonna keep it real, people. And so it looks like I might have to have a little filter as far as monitor the calls of people going to call in and joke around. I don't mind. It's all fun and games to some. But anyway, everybody, it's been fun, man. I'm going to end it right there. End it on the last prank of the night. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I can see their number here, so I can easily just, I can block it or something like that. So that's probably what I'll do. But other than that, I don't want to distract from the main show. The main show is to give you the people who are serious, a chance to share what's on your mind. So other than that, everybody, it's been great as always. Chime in tonight. Looking forward to having another opportunity to kick with you tomorrow. Then also on Wednesday, I got a regular coming back, Mr. Leor Gantz. Going to get him back to find out what's going on, and because he's a well-informed guy. So definitely Wednesday night, 9:30. Join us for a live stream with Leor Gantz. Going to join us. Then I have a couple of interviews coming this week that's going to be well informative, give you guys a chance to learn about a couple different sectors. So other than that, everybody, it has been fun. As always, be safe and give us a thumbs up if you have not. Make sure you click the subscribe button if you're new. And if you want to, you can support the channel via Patreon, or I got my Bitcoin address there if you want to show your boys some love via Bitcoin. Be a blessing to the channel, and I appreciate it. Other than that, everybody, enjoy your night, and I will see you tomorrow night, same time, same place. Be blessed. All right.